It's wonderful to be here today. I'd first like to, of course, acknowledge that, well, we're coming today from Gadigal land, the Eora Nation, and pay our respects to elders past and present. And of course, acknowledge all the lands you're coming in from. Please feel free to put them in the chat if you would like to as well. And send our deep respect to all First Nations people on the call today. There's a wonderful image up of an incredible glass artwork that's just beautiful, that was a part of Biennale of Sydney. It's great to meet you. I know many people on the call, but lots I haven't met before. I'm only 5 months into this role. I'm 45, I have fair skin, I have red curly hair that finishes just at my ears. I'm wearing a light denim shirt, button-up shirt today, and I'm wearing glasses that don't have frames, just wire tops. Whilst I'm new to Createability Intern Program is not new to me, and certainly in my last role at the Sydney Fringe Festival, we've seen the benefit of this program, having employed a number of past participants into our organisation. Of course, Createability Internship Program has been running since 2018 when it began as a pilot. And the program was really designed to support the professional development of creative practitioners with disability or who are deaf pursuing a career in the arts. Also, at the same time, upskilling the host organisations to receive training and advice on removing the barriers that people with disability often face in the workplace. Since then, Createability has connected more than 30 creatives with disability with supportive host organisations for rewarding and even life-changing opportunities. We really know that Createability has had a positive impact. Create New South Wales has evaluated the impacts of the Createability program, and we're learning now just how effective this has been. There's going to be more information published on those findings really soon, but one incredible outcome is that in our 2024 program, in the intern feedback survey, all respondents agreed that Createability had a positive impact on their career, and 2/3 reported finding further work as a direct result of the internship, which is just amazing. I wanted to take a moment to thank all of our Createability host organisations and, of course, our partner Accessible Arts, without all of whom the program could not be as successful as it is. Liz from Accessible Arts is on the call today, and we've got a number of our past host organisations too. So thank you for taking the time to be here today, but also being a part of this amazing program. I'm so thrilled this year that more organisations than ever are coming on board. So in the 2026 program, we have 20 host organisations with opportunities located not only in the Metro Sydney, but across the city, in Western Sydney and regional locations as well. There are opportunities for creatives across the arts, but also screen and sound industries, which is so important. Because recent statistics tell us that artists with disability experience unemployment at greater rates than artists without disability. And people with disability participate in the arts. We know this as creators and volunteers and donors, and they participate at a higher rate than people without disability, yet the same participation rate isn't reflected in employment data. In a recent economic study last year, it was found that only 16% of professional artists in Australia identify as living with a disability. So this program is needed more than ever, and we're so delighted to be partnering with all the wonderful organisations to bring this again and to be able to support this at Create New South Wales. This collaborative program has set the benchmark as we strive towards a truly accessible and inclusive creative industry sector, aligned so strongly with our creative communities policy. So I'm absolutely thrilled. I'm going to send an early apology because I have to hop off this meeting a little bit early today, but I'm delighted to be here and I'm really excited to hear the start of the panel. Back to you, Anna.
I'm now going to through to Nick Pont, who works also on the Createability program here at Create New South Wales.
Thanks, Anna, and thank you, Kerry. I'm Nick Pont of Create New South Wales. I'm wearing a blue shirt. It's collared. I'm in my late 30s, have pale freckled skin and brown hair, and today it's combed over from left to right. I'm incredibly fortunate to live and work on Gumbunya lands and feel very privileged to support the Createability program over the last 3 years. So what is Createability? It's a program delivered by Create New South Wales, Sound New South Wales and Screen New South Wales in partnership with Accessible Arts. It provides paid internships in major New South Wales organisations across the arts, screen, music and cultural sectors for up to 16 participants with disability. And as Kerry mentioned, that's an increase from the previous years, which was 10 or 11. Successful participants will get one customised training session provided by Accessible Arts. And this year we do have our largest amount of internship roles on offer. So we have 20 roles. We have 20 different host organisations from a variety of creative, administrative and technical roles in the screen, sound and cultural organisation sector. Next slide, yep. So about the internship, so a bit of a change in this year, we're offering internships for either 4 weeks or 8 weeks. That will take place between the 7th of April next year through to the end of the year. And the delivery is flexible, so it can be full-time or part-time or casual. And it's quite adaptable, and that can be negotiated with the host organisation. It might be in a hybrid setup where you work some days from home. It might allow extra breaks or crip time. And that flexibility has really enabled the success of the program over the last few years. And I suspect that that will be the case moving forward. So please don't feel like you have barriers in that space, because we really will work with you to try and make that work. And of course, as Kerry mentioned, Createability is a mutually beneficial program where the interns learn new skills, knowledge and build networks, and the host organisations learn valuable lessons from the interns as well. So who can apply? You must be an Australian citizen or an Australian permanent resident. You must identify as a person living with disability. You must be over 18, current resident of New South Wales, and have previous industry experience at any level or a keen interest in the arts. How to apply? You apply through our Smarty Grants application form. I'll put the link in the chat shortly, but it can also be found quite easily by Googling Createability Internship Program. And applications close on the 15th of December at 2 p.m. So how do you apply? You apply through the assessment criteria, and it's really 3 simple questions. It's what impact will the internship have on your career? What skills and experience do you have? How do your skills and experience relate to the opportunities that you've selected as your host organisations? We will also ask for a letter of support and a CV to be provided as well. You can respond to those questions in different ways, and that can be via text or a video audio response. And if you do have any barriers with the online form, please do let us know and we'll work with you to get an application in. I think that's it from me. I'm going to pass straight over to Liz Martin, who's coming to you from Bondi Beach, I believe. Thanks, Liz.
Thanks, Nick. Yes, keeping it real on the streets here at Bondi Beach, celebrating International Day of People with Disability with Bus Stop Films, looking at screen, some of the issues in the screen sector. I'm the CEO of Accessible Arts. Accessible Arts is proudly disability-led, and we are the peak arts and disability organisation in New South Wales. We advance the rights of and opportunities for people with disability or who are deaf to develop and sustain professional careers in the arts and have equitable access to arts and culture across New South Wales. I am also an artist with disability myself. I've been working for 20 years across the Australian arts and disability sector as an advocate, a musician, a producer, a project manager, a trainer and advisor. I'm really driven to contributing to an art sector that is authentically representative, diverse and accessible for everyone. As well as being the CEO of Accessible Arts, it's very strange reading your own bio, by the way. As well as being the CEO of Accessible Arts, I'm also an award-winning musician, a past board member of Arts Access Australia, and an active leader within the arts and disability community. Accessible Arts loves working on this program with Create New South Wales. I think it's one of the most powerful programs that we're working on at the moment. And we've been able to see the impacts since we started the partnership in 2018. If you're curious about applying, I really encourage you to apply. Give it a good go, as they say. We love working with Create and ensuring that the process is friendly, accessible, and I think the interview process is also very accessible and friendly, as well as the internships themselves. So let's flick to the next screen. I just wanted to give you a sense of what we're meaning, the broad definition of what we're meaning when we speak about disability. We're referring to the New South Wales government, which defines a disability as the long-term physical, mental health, intellectual, neurological or sensory differences, which in interaction with various attitudinal and environmental barriers may hinder full and effective participation in society on an equal basis with others. This definition helps us recognise that it is the barriers that make life harder for people with disability, and that by removing these barriers, we're creating equality and offering people with disability more independence, choice and control. So that's a little hint around the social model, which we'll look into further when you come on board for the program. But yes, I guess it's worth knowing that we're really looking at that full breadth of definition of disability. Thanks. Next slide, please. Over to you, I think, Anna.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you so much, Liz. And thank you again so much for all your support as our partner in Createability. This is my first Createability program in 2026 that I'm working on. So it is such a pleasure to be working with you and with all the host organizations and the interns as well. So we have gathered a panel together, a fantastic panel of previous hosts as well as previous interns, just to share some of their experiences of past Createability internships. I would love to introduce, or if the panel members could introduce themselves to those online, that would be fantastic. Maybe we could start with Danielle, if you're there.
Yeah, hi. Hello. Yes, I'm Danielle O'Keefe from the house that Dan built. We're a music organisation predominantly based in New South Wales, but work all over Australia. And this year, with our Createability intern, we actually toured internationally.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Danielle. Kim Akhurst, are you there?
Hello. Hi, yes, I'm Kim Akhurst. I'm a middle-aged white woman with big glasses and a colourful Aboriginal print dress. So I work on Compass. I'm a series producer, and this is our 3rd year. Next year will be our 4th year hosting Createability interns.
Wonderful, thanks, Kim. Scott Andrew, are you there?
Yes, I am indeed. Hey, everyone. Yep, I'm Scott Andrew. I'm the Executive Director at Erth. We are a primarily puppet making company. We tour our shows all around the country and all around the world. And this is, yes, our 3rd year with Createability, and it's been a fantastic experience, and I'm looking forward to working with more people again in the future.
Amazing. Thanks, Scott. Ayla, are you there?
Hi, yes, everyone. Hi, I'm Ayla. I'm coming to you from Gadigal Lands. I am the scripted executive at Endemol Shine Australia. I have long brown hair, frizzy from the rain, and I'm a white woman wearing a blue collared shirt. I'm very excited to be here today.
Thanks so much, Ayla. And our fantastic interns. So starting with you, Kyle.
Hi everyone, my name is Kyle. I'm coming from Gadigal country. I have a black cap that is backwards, and I'm wearing a blue shirt, and I am a white person in his early 30s. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks so much for being here, Kyle. Renee, are you there?
Hello, my name's Renee Allara. I'm a middle-aged white woman as well. There's a few of us in the room. I'm wearing black glasses, a black shirt with rats on it, and I have black hair, and I'm on Darug country.
Thank you so much, Renee. And Bianca.
So, yes, I'm Bianca Yeung. I'm of Chinese Australian descent, wearing a blue shirt. I have long black hair. And I was an intern last year in 2024 with Lingo Pictures as a development intern.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Bianca. So maybe just in terms of discussing, starting the discussion, hosts, would anyone like to start just by describing what you think makes a great candidate for an internship through this program?
Kim
Scott.
here.
Oh yeah, Kim, you start.
Oh,
Kim, go on.
Yeah, from ABC Compass. So Compass is a religion and ethics program on the ABC, and I think the first thing I would like a candidate to do is watch the program. So do your research, find out about the organisation that you want to work for. In my case, someone with a curious mind who is socially and politically engaged. We're looking for a researcher, a junior researcher, so someone who's interested in researching new ideas, finding out new things. But I think generally you want people who are eager and willing to try new things. So what you lack in experience, I think you can make up for in enthusiasm.
Great, thanks, Kim. Scott, did you have some thoughts?
Yes, sure. Like Kim, I think having someone who's passionate and enthusiastic and knows a little bit about what we're doing at the company, and to think about what it is not only that you can learn from us, but what you can bring to the organisation. This internship is very much a skill sharing opportunity, and we hope to learn as much from you as you from us. So really think about what you can bring and some clear directions on what you'd like to get out of the internship as well.
Great, thanks, Scott. Ayla or Danielle, did you want to add?
Yeah, and I'll add on to that. Yeah, so Danielle from the house here, and yeah, echoing both those thoughts for the house as well. What we work with our young artists is always, if there is an idea that they are interested in pursuing, we have the space and capability to actually look at how that could work and be developed with us through a program like this. So, for example, Leela Harris, who was our intern this year, she had an idea of a touring work that she was looking to see how could she develop this as a tour and possibly tack on to a work that we already had touring to be able to leverage what we were doing as the house and bring her work to new audiences as well. So she had a very specific idea, and we were then able to be curious about that and help make it work. So that was and that's it's not that we're looking for that exactly, but I guess it's for something to be really thriving. The idea of bringing an idea to the table is really exciting for us at the house.
like a really exciting opportunity as well. Ayla, did you want to add about Endemol Shine?
Hi, yes. I think what we would be looking for is a person who is really passionate about Australian stories, really passionate about Australian scripted storytelling. That's something that on our scripted team we're incredibly passionate about, and we'd love someone that can share that with us. Creativity, keenness to learn, takes initiative. In terms of experience, it's awesome if you come with some sort of scripted experience, but it's absolutely not necessary. We're very happy and open for anyone to come forward and work with us. So, yeah.
Brilliant. And maybe just staying with you, Ayla, what are some of the benefits that you've seen that working with an intern through Createability has given for either you or for the company?
Yeah. So we previously hosted Merit as one of our Createability interns, and she was an absolute force to be reckoned with. It was her creativity and her drive to learn more and to do more with us in the scripted team. Actually, from that, she then went on to have further employment with Endemol Shine Australia on a number of different projects in different roles. I believe she became associate producer on one of our unscripted projects, and we continue to have a network with her today, which is fantastic. And so there's definitely that mutually beneficial exchange between the host company and the participant. I think as well, when we first went on to become a host organization, we were in the middle of refurbishing and doing renovations on a large building, a brand new building next door. And so that prompted us to have really open discussions about what the accessibility of that building currently looked like and would look like. And that actually helped us to make accessible renovations that we were planning to do, but to have further discussions about what are we missing? What more can we do? Which I think is a really positive part of the program for the host company, and is something that we take with us and run with now, which is fantastic. And yeah, I would say it's so important to ensure that all of your spaces are accessible and inclusive, and that's something that we're really passionate about too. So yeah.
That's great. Thank you. Would any of the other hosts like to talk about some of the benefits that they've seen through having a Createability intern work with them? Scott?
Sure. I never want to jump in. I guess one thing personally, it's always a good reminder. I forgot to introduce myself and let everyone know that I am another middle-aged white man wearing glasses, a bright orange Sydney Festival shirt, and some ridiculous pointy hair. And it's I guess a program like this is a good reminder for all staff. It's a professional development for the entire organisation to have people with lived experience of disability working within the organisation. For those day-to-day encounters, but also, as Ayla mentioned, we've put in some grant applications for a refurb of our very old and not very accessible building for some major DDA kind of compliant works, but also to try and look at the small ways that we can make the building more accessible, but also our work practices, our WHS procedures that can be more inclusive of people with disability, but also people with allergies, and acknowledging that everyone has a different lived experience, and that all of these lived experiences are really beneficial to make a vibrant workplace. And on a professional level, I think Erth has a lot of, we work in a lot of different mediums, from textiles to industrial design to electronics, and so it's always great to have new people coming in with new approaches and different ways of looking at things, and we have a good turnover of casual staff and permanent part-time staff who move into full-time employment, and an internship like this is a great way to meet people, learn how you think, how you operate, what drives you, and whether you're a good fit for working with Erth in an ongoing basis, which a few of our interns have continued to do so.
Amazing. Danielle, did you want to?
Oh yeah,
jump in?
I was going to touch on that as well. For us as an organisation, this was an opportunity to really shift a light into what we have been doing and what we can do moving forward. And so we were able to, and actually they're completing it as we speak right now in a different room, looking at accessibility riders and how that can work as an organisation, how we can advocate for artists and how we can do it in a way that was very clear that we have a large cohort of artists of experienced disability that work in our organisation outside of this opportunity. And this became a focus point where we were able to then see what is currently happening and what could happen moving forward that makes our workplace more accessible for everyone in the space. So our team very much identified that they didn't, and I'll use the word that they used, being they didn't want to be coddled. And so it's about asking what is it that each people we're working with, what would they like, rather than having blanket rules and or obligations. And this is something we've been able to implement from board all the way through to our working with young girls in the organisation, is like looking at how we can be accessible across the entire org. So it's been great for all of us.
Amazing. Yeah, it sounds like it's transformed all of your organisations. That's really wonderful. Kim, did you have anything to add before we go to the interns?
I guess as the public broadcaster, we just feel like it's a great opportunity to train future professionals in the industry, and that our workforce must, reflect the diversity of the Australian community. So I see it as a great opportunity to kind of bring people into the tent and to make content more inclusively. I've been working with Madeline Stewart, so I used Sarah Court, who was our Createability intern this year, to research a program. So it's a great opportunity to kind of do more inclusive production. And two of our Createability interns at the ABC have gone on into our workforce as well. So, we're trying to create a few ways to be professional, which is great.
Yeah, what brilliant outcomes. Thanks, everyone. So just, throwing to the interns. I suppose what supports were the host organizations able to give to you that made the internship work, or, made it positive for you? And how has that impacted on your career pathway or where you are now? Kyle, did you want to jump in first?
I will begin. Yes, I think the first thing to acknowledge is the fact that because this is a disability first initiative, do not feel like you are somehow feeling nervous or anxious about acknowledging, your own considerations and how you work and things like that. So I was the diversity and inclusion coordinator at SBS, which is the other beautiful public broadcast we have in Australia. And I just had a really great opportunity, and there were a lot of different things. There were some things that I had to work on. There was a lot of supports that I needed to get, but I think it's just making sure that, you've got Accessible Arts there, you've got David and Nick there, you've got Anna now as well. Everyone is here to help support you and engage you and make the experience as positive and as uplifting as possible. So for me, it was just like acknowledging things around, hot desking and making sure I had a space. It was things around insurance, and just making sure that everything was good. But the idea of making sure that, because Nick and David knew exactly what they were doing and knew exactly how they were doing stuff, it was just really easy to acknowledge that and basically work from there, which is great.
That's so good to hear. Thanks, Kyle. And where are you now, Kyle? Like, has it had, what was it like in terms of giving you career experience or opportunity?
So for people who don't know me, I come from a very broad experience. I'm an afters grad. But, following on from the internship, I actually found full-time work. I worked as the marketing and digital coordinator at QueerScreen, which led me kind of in and around different sort of roles, and continually building that. And I think as a result of me working in SBS, I've actually started my own disability film festival. So really acknowledging the fact of like how important our responsibility regarding how to support and engage lived experience. So that really became such an important part of that. So so we've got a film festival, our first screening next week in Marrickville that I'm working with the Inner West Council on. So it's a really engaging and really awesome experience to sort of take some of the lessons and some of the things that I loved most about my time at SBS and actually put them into some sort of level of entrepreneurial endeavor, if you will.
That is amazing. Congratulations. Renee, would you like to talk a little bit about your internship experience and sort of how it's impacted your career?
Hello. I was with Cementa in Candles, New South Wales, and they run a community arts festival. It's biannually that they run this, and a lot of my work was around engaging community and talking to community about art and what sort of programs could run for the community at hand. It was really good there. It was a really nice tension between give and take, because it's interesting to meet different people from different walks of life in terms of disability for organisations, particularly if you're not up and in its face all the time. It's hard to know how to behave, how to respond to disability. Maybe some unconscious bias floats around, and it does for everyone. And being able to meet someone and seeing what their capabilities are opens up the door for other people who live with disability to find employment. And that's through no one's fault. I mean, society is the way society is, and people are not discriminatory in any way in any of the arts organisations. It's just getting to know what capabilities are out there and sort of breaking down some perspectives that have been put up in front of us in society about what our capabilities are, or whether an organisation had to bend and expect less of us in terms of our work, which was really, really nice. Cementa was super welcoming. They were super interested in hearing about accessibility, because that actually is part of what they do with community. How do they make their program more accessible to the community that comes and views the art festival and to artists who are participating in the festival? So it was really great. In terms of my career, I do a lot. So I work in TAFE, and I have this dual life where social work and counselling is part of it, and community work is the other part of what I do, and community development. And so I use what I've learnt in my internship about engaging community in my arts and advocacy work. So I do a lot of work with local council, engaging people and putting a lot of information out there about domestic and family violence. Also engaging people with lived experience of domestic and family violence and giving them voice. We've had hosted a few art competitions, and I'm involved in several agencies where I run trauma therapy using art therapy, and so that their voice can be seen through art and give them a mechanism in through a softer approach to therapy rather than talk therapy. I also use my art in terms of men's behaviour change programming, and so I work with perpetrators of violence and use art therapy, which is a totally new way of working, and I wouldn't have thought about community and art as deeply as I have, and that combination between them without having the internship with Cementa, because it's so community based and it's so deeply tied into community, and getting to understand and know that community through the work I was doing with them helps on a bigger scale when you're looking at engaging communities within the environment that I work in Sydney. Also, with that engagement with communities, having people engage with disability through art is so important, because it does, again, break down those barriers in community around what people who live with disability are capable of and how they tell their stories. So I can't recommend this highly enough. Your host organisation wants you just as much as you want them. And so don't be frightened to talk to them and tell them about what you need. In the past, myself, I'm middle-aged, so asking for the door to be open for you was a really frightening thing. It's really frightening to ask for accessibility because there's always that worry that people will not put you forward. So don't worry about that. This is actually such a good initiative, and it's so good for whatever career trajectory that you do have.
Thanks, Renee. Wow, what a fascinating and yeah, extraordinary experience that you've had, and amazing that it's still, you know, that experience through Createability and what you learned through working with Samantha is really still, you know, traveling through the work that you do now. It's amazing. Bianca, did you want to just contribute a bit about your experience, your internship? Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So yes, so I'm Bianca. I think for me, sort of jumping off the back of what Kyle and Renee were, excuse me, mentioning, what was one of the most, I guess, momentous takeaways for me for Createability was learning a little bit about my own relationship with my disability and what this program sort of offered up in terms of, yeah, putting, I guess, access sort of on the table for discussion right from the get-go in a way that was really safe. Yeah, and yeah, not something I'd experienced before at a workplace. So that was yeah, a huge thing. So as I mentioned before, I worked in development at Lingo Pictures, which is a television production company. And for me, I'd come from a very broad sort of arts background, but in large because of my disability, had never sort of felt or had sort of psychological and social barriers to pursuing a full career in the arts, as I'm sure a lot of people listening may understand. So I think, yeah, if it weren't for Createability and this sort of opportunity to get a foot in the door, it would have been hard, and it still is, but much more possible now to imagine having a sustainable and long-term sort of career trajectory in the space. For me, I studied an arts degree in English and neuroscience, but I didn't have much experience in the screen industry itself. I'd done some sort of independent dance, I'd done some writing, sort of pursued a lot of different art forms more as hobbies, I suppose, but it did give me a lot to contribute. When I did do my interview, I sort of drew on my vast experiences and explained why it was that I felt I'd fit in really well in this opportunity specifically. So I think for anyone who's thinking about applying but is not sure they've got the experience, you know, if you've got the skills that, you know, Ayla and some of the others were talking about, like if you're creative, if you know you've got something to offer, which everyone does, I'd really encourage going for it. And I suppose in terms of my trajectory since the internship, so I did my internship part-time, so 3 days a week for about 3 months last year at Lingo. And following that, I decided I really wanted to have a crack at screenwriting, which is a bit of a nebulous pathway to get into, sort of no matter which way you come at from it. But Lingo was really supportive. They said, look, we don't have sort of a permanent or a full-time position in anything, but what you can do is have a go at note-taking, which is when you're in a TV writer's room, for instance, and it's sort of a very entry-level role, but a very useful role to get to know sort of the process behind writing things for screen. And so it took a bit of time, but I was quite persistent, and Lingo was really supportive in finding opportunities where I could, have a go at it for a day or observe someone. And yeah, it's been a little over a year since then, and I'm actually in a writer's room right now, sort of on my lunch break. So it's become something that I've, built some momentum in, been to a lot of different companies with, and yeah, it's honestly all because of that sort of first entry point, which Createability gave me. So very grateful to the program.
That's amazing. Really, really wonderful insights. Thank you, everyone, so much. I think that part of the of today's session is probably going to be the most impactful for anyone who's thinking about applying. So thank you all so much. If there are questions from anyone for the panel, maybe just pop them in the chat and we'll try and sort of circle back around to those. Let me just share my slides again. So as Kerry mentioned, and I think Nick did as well, we've got more host organizations than ever applying for Createability this year. On the screen are all the organizations across arts, culture, screen and sound, the creative industries, the opportunities are there. Don't forget that you can apply for more than one to more than one host. So you could, choose up to 2 internship opportunities as well. So, and just in terms of key dates, 15th of December at 2 p.m. is when the applications close. And then interviews for the shortlisted interns will happen in January, February. March is when we're aiming to announce the successful matching of internship and host organizations. Do the intern training with accessible arts and disability awareness training for the host organizations, and there'll be contracts between the host organizations and interns organized as well, just so that everyone's really clear about their that opportunity and what it will involve. And then the actual internship will occur between April and December of 2026. Okay, we'll go to questions if anyone has a question either for the panel about their experiences or the host organizations, what they're offering, or for myself or Nick in terms of the process or the program. Are there any questions at all?
I was going to ask if I could do it again. It's such a good list this year, Anna and Nick. Can I just do it again?
Sadly, no, Kyle. You've had your.
I've had my time. I've had my time.
Yes, no. I think it's important that that the opportunity is shared to the next cohort coming through. But you're right. It's a really amazing list, and we're very happy that there's more organizations across Western Sydney, as well as some regional locations as well as sort of more music organizations through our relationship with Sound New South Wales and screen opportunities as well. So yes, it's a good list. There's a question about travel. If travel's a barrier, would host organizations be accepting of their intern utilizing external disability supports? I think the short answer would probably be yes. That would be sort of negotiated with between the intern and the host organization in terms of sort of what their travel needs are, or whether they need some flexibility over the times to be able to get to and from the location. Is 2 the max that we can apply for? I think that's right, isn't it, Nick? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, correct. 2 is
so just up to 2.
And we've just got a couple of questions a bit earlier on.
Oh,
A letter,
thanks, Nick.
letter of support was mentioned earlier. Who would be an appropriate person to provide that for applicants? And then another question, which is similar. Do you need a letter of recommendation for each internship if you apply for 2? I can answer that if you like, Anna.
Go on, Nick.
So we just suggest that the letter of support would be from an individual, or it could also be from an organisation, who can describe how you are suitable for the internship program. So very casual, just someone that knows you well and can explain your experience and how you'd be suitable for the program. And just one letter is fine. It's more about you rather than the specific opportunities as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Nick. Any more questions in the chat? Thinking of only selecting one host organization, so I don't need to select 2. You can just select one if there's really only one opportunity that sort of would be suitable for you and your career ambition.
Yeah, and it is done on preference. So if there is one that you're really leaning towards, you can put in for just that one. But if there is a second one, you can put that as sort of a backup. So don't feel like putting in 2 might, be a negative for your first preference, because it's not.
Thanks, Nick. Libby's got her hand up. Libby?
Yeah, hi. The organisation which I'm hoping to apply for, Westwards, I've actually got a very good friend who works there. Can I ask her for a letter of recommendation, or is it actually I shouldn't be sort of talking with her about the role at all?
That's a good question. I don't see why you couldn't initially, but perhaps if you have another support as well. Just Nick, what would you say? Have you come across this before in previous years?
No, I haven't. Yeah, I think an independent would probably be preferred, just so that it's there's not a conflict there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. But
you
happy
could
to take it
describe.
off. Yeah, happy to take it offline if you want to chat further about
Oh,
it.
okay. Just stay back after the meeting and have a chat.
Just if you just give us a call on that phone line.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, yep. Okay, will do. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think somebody else has their hand up. Caitlin?
Yeah, hi.
Hi, Caitlin.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
I'm currently residing in Victoria, but I was looking to move to New South Wales and find a career in the arts that supported my disability. Does my not living in New South Wales mean that I can't apply through this program?
Yeah, I think unfortunately at the moment you need to be residing in New South Wales to be eligible to apply for the program. I think it's 12 months. Is it, Nick, for Createability?
Yeah, that's correct. So if you were to move there soon, you may be eligible for next year's iteration.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right.
Thanks for the question. Okay, Louise says, I'm based in northern New South Wales. Are there host organizations in this region for a filmmaker? There aren't any current host organizations based in northern New South Wales that I know of. I don't know if any of the you could encourage or we could encourage any that you're interested in to apply for next year. But yeah, very much aware that it's such a hub up in
the Northern Rivers for film and screen activity. So it would be great to get host organisations to apply from that region, but I think unfortunately at the moment there aren't any. More questions about how many you can apply to. So it is up to 2 with a preference. Is it 1 intern per organisation? I think it is at the moment. I think that's all the questions.
The ABC looks to be offering, sorry to interrupt, the
Yeah,
ABC
go
looks
on,
to be
Kim.
offering a couple of internships in different departments. So I think from your list there was 1 in Compass, 1 in Play School, 1 in Acquisitions, and then 1 in Triple J. So that's 4 on offer at the ABC.
Yes, indeed. Thanks, Kim. I come from an acting background. Would you rather my acting CV or regular or both? I think it depends on your on the opportunity that you are looking for. So what would be suitable for that host organization, and you could read their description and what they're looking for, and sort of make sure that you're addressing those things. I'll just do one more question and then we'll go to the room in case there's any more questions. Creative writer, novels, poetry. Literature organizations are definitely, you know, we're trying to get more participation.
There is Westwards in this iteration, but I'd recommend having a look at the list. I put the link in the chat before just to have a look through, because there might be some of the other, like screen, for example, that might involve writing, or even some of the other arts ones as well. Just have a look through if you can.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. And someone, Hiromi, is saying they're interested in hearing from host organizations about how they managed interns' time, full-time, part-time, and casual. Would any of the host organizations like to answer?
I'm happy to jump in about how we worked with Merit. Before her internship started, we met up with her for coffee and just had a discussion about what works best for her, what her accessibility requirements may be. And in doing that, we talked about, you know, as a team, we have flexible work hours. Some of us work from home some days a week. We work from different offices depending on what we have in production. So that's already something that we have instituted into our team. And so we just had a discussion about what would suit her. She also was going overseas for the premiere of a film she made. So we allowed time off already contracted for her in that, as she worked part-time for the duration of the weeks that she needed to, with some time off here and there as well.
That's brilliant. Thank you.
We were similar. We had, I guess, the option for flexibility according to the intern's needs and requirements and how that matched certain projects. So depending on their availability, some times they would work from home, and sometimes they'd be coming in with an acknowledgement that if the situation arose where they needed to leave early on any days, then that was able to be worked in. Ultimately, it was a set period of hours, and we didn't have a prescribed end date. So we knew it would kind of finish up around somewhere between October and December, depending on the flexibility of the hours that they worked in any particular time.
Thank you so much for answering that question. One more question we've probably got time for, or any last comments or anything? Liz, I don't know if you wanted to say anything at the end. Kyle?
Sorry, I was just going to say, I think it's always really important to start these applications early. Make sure you don't leave it to the last minute, especially if you need any help from Create, you know, you don't want to give them the abundance of calls at the end where they're like, oh my God, I don't know how to fill out this thing. So make sure you start early. That's all I was just going to say.
Very good point, Kyle. Thanks for that. Bianca?
Yeah, I was just reading a comment from Emery further up about what makes a recommendation letter good, and maybe Nick can confirm, but I just was going to say to her, in terms of length, the letters I put in were all quite brief, like not longer than a page, sort of 3 to 5 paragraphs, and they included sort of specific details of things I'd worked on and sort of past managers signed off on them.
Perfect, thank you. Renee?
In terms of the process, it can be a little scary when you think about going for an interview with people, suitability, and putting in an application. I just would advise you just to be yourself, because that's what these organisations want. They want to see who you are and what you want to do. Let your enthusiasm hang out. It's allowed, and just breathe through it. It's not as painful or as scary as you think. You do get a lot of support in the lead up, and there's really great training that you get after you get the internship around asking for your accessibility requirements, because sometimes that's the hardest bit. So just make sure you talk to people, because if you're quiet, no one knows to help.
That's really fantastic advice. Thank you so much. Ayla?
Yeah, I just really wanted to echo what you just said, Renee, something you said earlier, Bianca, which was that we as a host company want you as much as you want us. That's really important, and that it is absolutely being a part of this internship. I speak on behalf of ESA Scripted, but I'm sure I speak on behalf of all the host companies, that we want you to feel as supported and safe and seen and understood as we feel too, you know? So there's nothing you can't ask for, and we're just really excited to be a part of the program. So yeah.
Lovely. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm sorry that we're at time. We could probably go on for much, much longer. Thank you all so much, panelists, hosts, and previous hosts and previous interns. It was really lovely to have you and your incredible perspectives, which I think will be so valuable to anyone thinking of applying. Thanks also to Liz, our Accessible Arts partner. And anyone with any questions, please get in touch, and we hope you apply. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thanks,
Have a great
everyone.
day.
Thanks, Anna.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.